Well, sadly, one of the new blue Metrorail trains has come under attack. Fortunately, it was just a recent stoning incident, and the carriages weren't torched like the series of attacks we saw some years back. Well, this time around, the passenger rail agency is blaming unruly youngsters for lobbing stones at the side window of the driver's cabin as the modern train travelled on Cape Town's scenic Southern Line. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but it is a concern for Metrorail Western Cape's manager, Richard Walker. He's live with us now to discuss this. Thanks so much, Richard, for joining us. All that money put into the new trains, and you want to keep them as pristine as possible for passengers. What can you do to prevent incidents like this from taking place?
Annika, of course, yeah, it's a concern for us, and therefore we've laid charges of malicious damage to property. And we also want these perpetrators to be charged under the Criminal Matters Amendment Act, which carries a heavier sentence for people who are found guilty of actually damaging state property. We have basically, we started with the services of running these new trains on the Southern Line in off-peak, and that's, when this incident happened at Steenberg Station. We've revised the deployment for these trains, and, because of the cost involved in actually manufacturing these trains and bringing them out and sort of replacing the old fleet. So it's for us a concern that this incident happened. We've engaged the councillors in the community as well as the community leadership. We'll be taking a trip with them on the train on that line tomorrow to look at how do we find, in addition to the policing measures that we've put in place, how do we then also look at getting the community to embrace this new asset, these trains, which is there for them, and take responsibility also to look after these assets. So those are the measures that we are taking, and we want to nip this in the bud, and we want to see it as just a once-off incident, and take these kids along with us so that they can actually see the benefit that these are the trains that their parents will be using and desperately needs to get to and from work, and even for them to go to school. Those are the plans we're putting in place to ensure, as we roll out these trains, that one train at a time, we change the behavior of, first of all, the commuters, but also provide them with the service that they deserve as commuters as we recover services in the Western Cape.
Richard, you may have already got this in place, but would it perhaps be possible to have some sort of incentive for community members or members of the public and passengers themselves to have some sort of reward should they witness any of the vandalism taking place on your trains?
Annika, you're correct. We do have a reward system that if we are provided with information that can give us leads that can actually lead to an arrest and a successful prosecution, we do have a process where we will then reward people that have given us and provided us with that information, and we do that in anonymity, so they're in confidentiality, so their identities will be protected. So I think people should not hesitate to come and work with us and provide us with the information. Like I said, in rolling out these new trains, we have revised the security deployment. We've got an integrated deployment on board with SAPS, Rapid Rail, SAPS, police, as well as our own security and law enforcement. And that is how we're going to continue to roll out these new trains, that we don't find ourselves back with a situation where we lost quite a number of coaches and trains in the Western Cape due to acts of vandalism and, the horrific train burnings that we had a couple of years ago.
We've never seen the country's rail network in such a poor state. What's the situation in the Western Cape right now, and what kind of challenges are you facing? It's a very difficult position to be in.
Well, it's well publicized, the challenges that we faced. We've come under tremendous attack, in the last 5, 6, 7 years. In the main, it's copper theft and vandalism. And obviously, we've put in a number of interventions to try and curb that. But obviously, it comes at a cost. We operate within a system, and we need, all law enforcement agencies, municipal authorities, as well as communities to work with us because these threats come directly, out of those communities. There's the socioeconomic, impact and situation also has a major impact. And I think for us, first of all, we need to see tighter control and consequence for unscrupulous scrap dealers, that is creating this demand. The orchestrated, crime bosses, which is basically using desperate people, and then actually, we never get to the masterminds behind these acts of vandalism and theft. And then obviously during COVID, the hard lockdown, we also then, this situation was exacerbated with the attack on the assets. We have now come back. We've, started to operate the Southern Line. We've just spent another 4.5 million when our line was again shut down between False Bay and Fish Hoek because of an act of vandalism. And we've reinstated that service on the 21st of December. And we are now demonstrating this new fleet, and we would want to, in the next month, get the approval from the rail safety regulator that we can run these trains during peak. We've got 12 of these new trains is manufactured in South Africa, that we should be proud of as South Africans. But, if we want to recover the services to its former glory and provide a rail network that our communities deserve, and also alleviate the pressure on the poor, which is now actually forking out, So yeah, Annika, we're doing all that we can to recover services, within the next 18 months over the whole of the Western Cape.